In the diffusion video, we saw that diffusion was about mixing things so they're even. Now, I love this little picture because it shows two things coming together and spreading through each other or mixing with each other. And that is diffusion. We also talked about, or I also talked about, how water is part of the cells and that things can dissolve in water. So wouldn't it make sense if we allowed water to move around and carry the stuff for us? Well, there's a special process in cells and in living things called osmosis. And we're going to find out about that. It's a special type of diffusion. Right, let's review. So cells basically have water. A lot of that water is found in the cytoplasm. Alright, but they also, a lot of cells live in water, or they have water surrounding them. So that means they've got water inside and water outside. That sounds like something we could use with the idea of diffusion. So as you can see here, is it possible for water to diffuse and carry stuff with it? Right, and the answer of course is yes. And as I put here in the defining moment, osmosis is the movement of water from where there's lots of water, or high concentration means high means there's concentration means there's lots of water, to low concentrations of water. Now this becomes really, really important, and it can mean a life or death situation to a cell. But there's more about that a bit later on. So let's think about it. We have a cell, and on the inside of it, these blue dots, notice I've changed from purple to blue. We've got, on the inside we've got lots of water molecules, on the outside we've got very few. So if we were seeing things going on with normal diffusion, we would expect that the inside ones would move out through the membrane. So in other words, we've got a membrane that lets them do it. Permeable means it has holes in it and lets things happen through it. Semi means it doesn't let everything through. Well, it'd be crazy, wouldn't it? Because we said the cytoplasm is water. So if they started to take all the things that are in the cytoplasm, like mitochondria, and letting them go through the cell membrane, that'd be crazy, because that'd be the cell committing suicide. So what happens is this stuff is in the water on the inside of the cell. There is less water on the outside of the cell, so everything tries to even up. Now the water is going to carry anything that's dissolved in it with it. So let's say it's got some waste material like carbon dioxide. Then as the waste material in here has been building up, which is not good for the cell allows it to move out through the membrane and to the outside of the cell. So in other words, it's getting rid of some of its waste as well. In this case, gaseous carbon dioxide. So if it works that way to get rid of stuff, surely then it would do the reverse. Now in this case, I've got stuff in the water on the outside of the cell. I've got my semi-permeable membrane again, in other words a membrane that stuff can move through. And we normally find it's only little molecules like water that can move through here. So they go through and on the inside. So I've got more on the outside, less on the inside. My diffusion rule tells me that these are going to try to move into here to balance out. Will that happen? You betcha. So eventually we get to a stage where things move into the cell too. Now this would be how we could move nutrients into the cell if they were dissolved in water. And as I said before about diffusion, it doesn't use any energy. It happens by itself. So the cell can get fed, the cell can move waste out of itself, or some waste out of itself, using diffusion, or in this case, the special diffusion called osmosis. And this means that the cell doesn't have to even think about it. Not the cells think. But anyway, that's another story.